Hey friends, welcome back to my channel. I hope you are all doing well. If you are new around here, I hope you will consider hitting that subscribe button to join our crafty little family. And for today, I have the sweetest little tag mini album, and I'm creating this with the Wildflower collection from Simple Stories and a Dollar Tree hack that will get you to the fun part of these mini albums, and that is decorating it. So today we're going to create this album, and then I also have a leveled up version to show you with the same process and measurements, but just with some additional layering and dimensional embellishments. So if that sounds good to you, then stick with me and we'll make it together. So I've got my Simple Stories Wildflower collection. This is going to be the 12 by 12 collection kit, which includes those cut apart images as well as the stickers. And we're going to utilize both for both the project we make today and then the flip through of the leveled up version. Here are the cards that I picked up from the Dollar Tree. Now, it is important to note that these are not standard A2 size cards. They happen to be an envelope size of 4 by 5.5. And so that actually is ideal for this type of project because you're going to be able to get 3 full-size portions out of the 12 by 12 pattern papers. So this is going to work out great for us. I had so much fun creating these projects. I know for sure I'll go back in and find some different card sizes to do this with, and then maybe add some other variations so you can see how versatile this easy to create little mini album can be. So the first thing I did was take those cards and then I just folded it back onto itself. It seemed to create a little bit of extra bulk that way, and I do want to have my pages be very sturdy, and so I'm just going to put the card into the envelope. Then I'll come back and seal up that flap. And I'm just going to use a little bit of my double-sided adhesive tape. Now, I know we all have a lot of scraps or cardstock in our stash, and we could easily make this, but for the price of this set of cards with envelopes, I'm also getting the tags with fully finished edges, and so that is important to me. It makes it look really nice and finished all the way around, and it's just so much faster and easier. So the first thing I want to do before I begin to assemble is to mark where I want to punch the hole. This is not going to be precise, but I think I can use my T-square ruler to judge how far down I want this to be and put it right in the middle. So I'll say 2 inches is going to be a good middle section, and then about 1/4 of an inch down from the top will leave me with plenty of room for that to function on the ring when we begin to assemble. So I'm going to use the crocodile here to get through all those layers, and I'm just going to punch them all at once to make that easier. So I think the hardest part of this process was just keeping track of where the pages would be once you flip them. And so you don't want to add anything upside down to these. So just keep working along and checking that you've got the hole in the right position. And so that way you're going to be able to keep from having things glued in upside down. So here is all of my tags or pages all set, and I'll just go ahead and start layering on my cardstock and pattern paper. This is the best part. Now this is going so fast that I'm going to be able to jump to the fun part really quickly. And also all of these pages are going to have the same size, so it will be very fast and easy to cut all the paper to finish all these with the collection. So remember, our ring is on the top, so our first set of pages is going to look like this because it will flip up, and so I'm going to work with them side by side just so that I can keep them in the frame. But remember, if you need to check, it's easy just to orient these so you know nothing is getting glued on upside down. So my first set of pages, I'm going to use the pinks for this. Lots of different possible color palettes to work from, so that will give you a lot of different variety. The cardstock for this is 5 3/8 by 3 7/8, and the pattern paper is 5 1/4 by 3 3/4. So I'm just going to add this for this first section. On the next page, I'm going to stop and do one step before I add them to the base, but you can also punch these as you go along, and that will help to remind you where the position will be. Got the same pattern for this side as well. Even though they're going to be a top and bottom page, I still like them to coordinate. That seemed like a good use of the paper as I was cutting it. Okay, now that I have my base layers on, I do want to embellish these pages, and I've just created a small little cluster for this page to be kind of a photo mat. I have a die cut doily here, a layering pattern, which was a good use of the offcuts. There are some stars that are just some glitter stickers. And then I'm also going to utilize some of the stickers from the collection pack just to kind of give a lot of pretty detail to this. In the leveled up version, you'll see that I did add a lot more foam spacers and dimensional items, and that is another way to incorporate some more fun textural items to this. And there's going to be plenty of room because your ring is only going to be on one side, so you can build a good size wedge here and incorporate all of those additional details. So for this side, I do want to include a little pocket. I thought it would be fun to utilize one of the 4x6 cut apart images and turn it into a library pocket. So I cut this to be 6 inches by 3.5. And then I scored it at 1.5. So here is the pocket that I'm going to get. And I did go ahead and round the corners with my corner rounder just so that it would have a little bit of extra detail. I'm going to put this down onto my page with a little bit of double-sided adhesive, but for the pocket, I will switch to my Tombow, and that's just so that I know everything I put in here will be well secured. So this is going to be right against the other side. The pattern papers will match and not have a gusset. You don't want to have a whole lot of extra room in these pockets for things because they might fall out when you flip them up, and you don't want that. So if you're using this wet adhesive like I am, take your time and give that a little bit of a minute to set up, and then you can incorporate some of the cut apart cards into that as well. So this is my first page, and I think it might be a really nice idea to sort of incorporate the stars as I go throughout the album, just as a consistent detail. So I think I'll pick this one here and then just add it to the top of that tag to pull out. And so that kind of brings all of that pretty shiny extra detail to the other side of the page. So let's continue to work along, and I'm just going to flip these up so that I know exactly where all of the stuff is going to go. So remember, you've got one on the bottom and one on the top. And for the next set of pages, I'm going to switch to that blues. And so let's just go ahead and add our base layers for this and punch the holes as we go along. So for the left-hand page or top, I'm going to include another die cut. This doily has more of a rectangle shape, so this is just going to give you a little bit more room if you want to use this as a photo mat. Now I'm going to bring in my layering pattern with a foam spacer. So I'm building a little dimension there, and then I'm also going to bring in another one of those sweet little stars. I'm just keeping that on to the raised section so that it doesn't have any fragile pieces hanging off the edge. And for this side, I have the flip portion of this page. Now, this was part of the 3x4 cut apart sheet, and I just elected to cut out 2 of them together and then score it in the middle. And this is going to create its own little flip page, and then it will have the beautiful pattern paper lining the inside as well. So before I put this down, I want to consider bringing those stars back in, and let's just put one of the larger ones here on the bottom. That way I can layer this flip portion on top of it, and so that will give me a lot of extra detail. I'm putting the flip portion more or less in the middle, just so that I'll have a nice border of that pattern paper showing around. Let's bring back our sticker sheet and see if there's one that will fit here nicely. I think if I pick the cute little moth, I can get it to fit here on the top. And let's put another one of our smaller star stickers here as well. So I think if I put it about right here, then I can have my star sticker layered underneath. And that just adds a little bit of extra detail to this 3x4 cut apart image. So let's put everything back together and flip to the next side. For the left-hand page or the top, I'm just going to add my cardstock and pattern paper, punch out that hole. Another one of those rectangle doilies. This time I'm using the cut apart that had lines on it, so this is really perfect if you want to incorporate some journaling onto your pages. So let's pop in another star before we get too far. And put one down here as well. This would also be a great place for enamel dots. Okay, so for this side, before I can attach the paper to the base, I want to incorporate some of these pieces. This one is one of the cut aparts, and then some additional offcuts that I got while I was working along. I want to add this as kind of a way to fan these out and have all these different layers. So I'm just going to take my pen here and then mark into the corner where I want to punch my hole. For this, I am going to switch to the smaller side of the crocodile. I just need enough room for the brad to go through. So let's go ahead and punch that. And then I will set this on to the page right where I want it to fall. So now I'm going to take my pen again and just mark that section where I want to punch. Just punch through the page here where I marked the first set of holes. And then I'm going to stack these together and thread this brad through. I think this coordinates really pretty with that vintagey yellow color. I'm going to hold it very firmly onto the back so that I can get this brad folded as flat as possible. Now I'll be able to fan out these pages and add some pictures to them, and then I can add the journaling that goes with the pictures on this left hand side. So now I can just add this to the base and then just keep punching. Remember, you got to switch back to the bigger side so your ring will fit through it. And then I think I want to bring a little bit of that blue onto this set of pages as well. So here is my butterfly, and then here is my additional glitter star to balance the ones on the other side. The last set of pages is going to have a pink color combination. And so on this side, I am going to add my base pattern paper and cardstock. Another one of those flip pages created with the 3x4 cut aparts. And I just want to center that here on this side. This actually increases the amount of space you have for pictures in here, because now you're going to be able to get 2 of the 3x4 size on that page. So here is the last page, and I'm going to continue coordinating these pages as I work along so that the 2 that show together are matching. I have a offcut from the first page, and I want to turn this into a belly band, and so rather than making it a full pocket that would require a lot more adhesive, I'm just going to add a little bit of my Tombow on the top and the bottom, and then I'll add this to the side here and hold that in place just for a bit while that glue sets up. I cut this band to be less than half so that it won't interfere with the hole that needs to be punched in the top for the ring. And then I've got an additional 3x4 cut apart to tuck into there. So let's go ahead and put the back on now as well. So now flip these over and work on the front cover. So I think another great thing about this little album is you can take all of the pages apart to work on them separately so that you don't have all of those lumpy bits interfering with being able to work on this on a flat surface. So take these off the ring when you work on them and then just reassemble them when you have it done. So here's my pattern paper. I did layer up that beautiful pink check with the butterfly onto my pink cardstock. And I'm just going to tap that with my die cut doily. Here's one of the tag images from the collection, and I actually die cut it with a slightly smaller tag shape that had a stitched edge detail just so that it would fit the size of this better and have a little bit of extra detail around the edges. So here's my flower collection, and I did create all these flowers. I finished them with stamens from Really Reasonable Ribbon, and here is my twine bows and a little bit of netting, and then this beautiful coral mini check, which is also from Really Reasonable Ribbon. This is just going to kind of hug the bottom of that tag and fill in the bottom portion of this top piece. I want to add a couple of these sweet little bird charms here to the corner, and then I will cover those cut strings with this button. I think I'm also going to add another one of those pretty stars here to the edge, just to bring in a little bit of extra sparkle to the cover. Now you can add this to your ring. I just have a couple of different sizes, and I think this one will work well so that there will be room for additional finishing details as I work along. So I'll just go ahead and thread that through. And then go ahead and clip that at the top. I also want to add a couple of sequins here, and I'll just use my Tombow to attach these. Okay, so I think those sequins are going to help to balance out all the additional detail on this cover. So let's just flip through here real quick. We have our layouts with some pockets. There's photo mats. There is raised sections and flip pages. There are also some areas where journaling can be added, and then this page has some elements that you can fan out and add details to all of these layers. And then the last page has that belly band. And so I think this is a really good way to use up your 12 by 12 pattern papers and get a sweet little mini out of it. I also have my leveled up version, so I followed basically the same process and all the same measurements, but I did add a couple of additional details. So for this one, I just used a little bit of a bigger ring since I have more dimensional items, and I've got some mailing tags included here as well, and some clips. There are some side folding flip pages. These were created with the 4x4 cut apart cards. And then along with the photo mats, I included some pretty layered pom-pom trim and lace. This is just one that I got. I'm going to add 2 sections of this together to create that more full look, and then I'll go ahead and add that with my hot glue just so that it's well secured. For this one as well, I did add my stickers to a piece of thicker cardstock and cut them back out, and then I attached them with my 3D foam tabs. These are from Really Reasonable Ribbon, and I love them for adding dimension without too much bulkiness. So this book has sort of the same vibe with the doilies and the journal cards, some more of those pretty star stickers. I also included some acetate sheets to this as well, just to have another additional fun texture. Here's my fanned section where I can have all of these layers And then here's an additional mailing tag. I use the sticker sheets to get some items to layer up on these mailing tags to decorate them a little bit more. This is another one of the 4x4 cut aparts that I used, and this time I did line it with an additional layering pattern and then added the dimensional flowers to it as well. Remember, we have lots of room in this one to add all of those extra dimensional items. Here is my library pocket with my tag and more of those stickers. And then pretty much the same thing for this on the back, is more of those dimensional flowers. And then here is my belly band. This time I added some more of the pom-pom trim to the side. And of course I did finish the back with the coordinating pattern paper as well, and finished the cover with the same sort of finishing details as I did for the first one. So that's it for our tag mini albums created with that Dollar Tree card and envelope set, so that we can get to the fun part of decorating these albums. If you enjoyed this tutorial, make sure you let me know in the comment section and give me a big thumbs up for this video. Check the description for links, and if you're not already, I would love for you to subscribe and join my crafty little family. As always, I'm wishing you a happy and productive day, and I thank you so much for watching. Bye.